This tutorial is going to show you how you can take an object and mimic the path of another object. In this example, what I'm going to do is have text follow a bouncing ball. I'm not going to have the text follow the ball through the whole animation. I'm going to have it follow the ball kind of near the end. So here's the path of my ball, and I'm going to have the text show up near the end where the low bounces are at, and then the ball leaves the stage. We need to go back to frame 0 to create this text. Now, if I plan to create text that is going to be a vector object as opposed to a text layer, then first I need to go to the Layers palette and choose the new layer icon and choose Vector. And I'll just leave that default name right now as Layer 3. I can then go over here to the Tools, click on the T icon, and here I'm going to uncheck Create Text Layer. All right, this is going to make this text become a vector object, and it's going to end up applied onto this layer 3. And I'll click OK. So this text is now layer 3, and it's a vector object. Now we're still on frame 0, but we need to situate it to where we want it to first appear in the animation later on. I'm going to turn on the guide marks to help me. I'll click on View and Show Rule of Thirds. So you can see I've got some lines here that should help me out a little bit. I'll grab the scrub bar and move it over until I find where I want the text to start following the ball. Now I'm going to click over here on the ball layer just so that I can end up on a keyframe, which I have here at 192. So I'm going to keep in mind, where do I want this text to be? I'm going to have it directly over the ball right here. And I am going to have to remember this. I'm going to have to eyeball it because I've got to go back to frame 0 in order to situate the text right where I want it. So back to frame 0, clicking on that text layer, choosing the Transform Layer tool, and I think it was right about there, but I can check. Let me look at frame 192, and that looks pretty good. Now I'm going to copy some of the keyframes from the ball. Click on the ball layer, and let me look down here. I want to make sure that I'm choosing the layer translation keyframes only. I only want the same forward motion. So from 192 until the end, I'm going to click and drag and select only those. All right, you can see that only the keyframes along this line are highlighted in red. Now I'll go up to Edit, Copy, and then I'll click on Layer 3, the text layer, and while I'm still on frame 192, I'll go to Edit and Paste Relative. All right, now you can see this path that was created for the text. It looks just like the path for the ball from this point onto the end of the animation. So let's play this part, see how it turned out. I'll just click back here a little ways before those keyframes. All right, you see that it followed perfectly. Let me stop this. Now the results would be a little bit different if I hadn't lined the text up vertically with the ball. Now I didn't want this text to appear until frame 192. Easy, right? Let's go to frame 0. And on this text layer, double click it. In the layer settings, under the General tab, I'm going to uncheck Visible and click OK. Now that's going to have it be invisible for the duration. So at frame 192, I'm clicking there. I'll double click again on that text layer and click on Visible and click OK. So now what we've got is it's going to appear at frame 192. Let's have a look here. So I see that I have a little problem at the end of my animation. My text is sticking out. Not a big deal, right? Let's go over here and look at the last keyframe for each. I'll just have to go make sure that I get onto that last keyframe for both the text and the ball. And choosing transform layer, might have to move that a little out of the way, but then I'll have to do the same for the ball. So I'm just going to move that a little bit as well. So then we've got, let's just look at the end here. And then it gets out of the way. And obviously you can do this with anything that you want to animate. It doesn't have to be text. It could be two balls. So give it a try and email me if you have any questions.